We begin with the sights and sounds of terror. As Yemen sinks further into disarray, we're getting powerful new images from last week's suicide bombings. In one video, you can see and hear the moment a suicide bomb went off inside a mosque on Friday. Look at what happened as worshippers prayed. Horrifying scene at one of two mosques that were bombed. At least 137 people were killed in the attacks. ISIS has claimed responsibility for both of those. Here's another view of the moment leading up to the attack. This surveillance video is said to show one of the bombers making his way towards his target on crutches. He apparently hid explosives inside his leg cast. You can see him slowly hobbling down the street. Just seconds later, you can see people running, presumably from the explosion. Those bombings raised tensions in Yemen, where things are already very complicated. Today, the Houthi Shiite rebels effectively took over Taiz, Yemen's third largest city. It's close to Aden, where the president fled after the Houthis placed him under house arrest. You can see the Houthis control much of the west of Yemen, and a powerful al-Qaeda affiliate is based in Yemen. Taiz is also near the Al-Anad air base, where US troops fighting al-Qaeda had been stationed. The last of those troops were put out yesterday. For more on the unravelling situation in Yemen, we're joined by Peter Salisbury, an independent journalist and former consultant for the Chatham House for Yemen. Peter, thanks very much for joining us from Dubai on Skype. Now, the Houthis, as we can see, are extending their reach. They seized the key strategic city of Taiz, which lies between the capital Sana'a and Aden, and it's the third biggest city. It appears they faced very little resistance there. Can you explain how they did that?
Well, the reporting over the last couple of days suggested that the Houthis have only just arrived in Taiz. But in fact, last October, after they'd taken the capital, they seized Sana'a, the capital, in September of last year. They moved into the west of Yemen, and they moved into a port town called Hodeidah, and they moved into Taiz as well. They didn't go there in great numbers, but they were preparing, it would appear, for any eventuality that would require a greater presence there. So they'd already really laid the groundwork for their entry into the city. And what they seem to be doing at the moment is ensuring that they have a direct route that they've secured to Aden, where the president, Abdurrahman Mansur Hadi, is currently trying to set up what is in effect a government in exile within Yemen itself.
And in the city of Taiz, they also seized the international airport. There's reports that the Houthi rebels are flying in troops and military equipment, possibly preparing for a wider offensive. Is that your understanding?
Yes, absolutely. As I said, before the suicide bombings in Sana'a last week, we saw Hadi, who has been based in Aden for the past month, but almost 2 months now. For the past month, we saw Hadi clashing with members of the security service that is there who are loyal to Ali Abdullah Saleh, Yemen's former president, who is working in coalition with the Houthis right now. And what would appear to be happening is that the Houthis have decided that they are going to go to Aden, and they're going to remove Hadi and remove the militias and military units that are loyal to him. So we're really approaching all-out civil war right now.
And we were just showing some of the surveillance vision of the latest bombing attacks on the mosque. So you saw someone making his way to a mosque on crutches. It seems that they're going to new lows to avoid detection. Yes,
absolutely. It's not so much an issue of new lows to avoid detection. This is the first time, although we've seen a lot of violence in Yemen over the past decade, and they've had a very strong, a very virulent al-Qaeda franchise in the country, this is the first time that we've really seen people attacking unarmed civilians in a place of worship. And the mosques they were attacked were places where members of the Zaidi sect, of which the Houthis are part, tend to pray, and it was done at peak hours. So it really shifted the lengths that Sunni extremists in Yemen are willing to go to provoke and create unrest among the Zaidi population, who they're increasingly targeting and saying that as a group they are working with Iran.
Well, I mean, that's what diplomats are saying, that this latest move is drawing in further the oil giant of Saudi Arabia and its main rival, Iran. And as you mentioned earlier, it's looking like it's going to blow out into a full-blown civil war.
Yes, that's quite right. So just maybe 20 minutes before this program began, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the leader of the Houthi movement, appeared on television and gave a speech which I personally interpret as a declaration of war. He said that dialogue had failed. He accused President Hadi, the GCC states, and America of working together in a plot to destabilize Yemen. And he said that his forces and all other forces who back them would go to take the fight to them. So we've seen, in effect, a declaration of war this evening. And while peace talks are ongoing, it looks more and more likely that the Yemen will descend into a deeply debilitating civil conflict.
Well, we appreciate your insight today on this, Peter Salsbury, and we hope to talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.